What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I wanted to talk quickly about the impact of Runi no longer being a part of the 1.5 initial launch. It sounds like it's going to be in like the V2, or I think what they're calling now 1.6, essentially, which hopefully will get anywhere from 1 to 1.5 months after the launch of Land. So we don't know what the full timeframes are for it yet, but yes, Runi not being there, disappointing for Runi holders, myself included. So it's like, what is the impact? Well, for me, I have 3 Runi, I have 3 land plots. I was planning on using them, and the fact that I will no longer be able to means that in order for me to utilize my land fully, I will need to get 50,000 DEC per plot, which means 150,000 DEC, and that's 150,000 DEC I was not planning on getting. So I haven't even started, but I will begin the accumulation phase just because we're well below peg right now. But here's the other thing. There's also the power core to think about. And I don't know if there's going to be some other way that they can bring a benefit back for holders, but I did get building in a box, so maybe that's not going to be an issue for me. But for people who didn't get building in a box, if you're planning on using your Runi there, that's another 5K. So I don't have my calculator out, at least not on this computer. So I did the math already. I'm just going to share it with you. So if you want to double check my numbers, I would appreciate that. But if we just look, roughly 3,500 Runi at 50,000 DEC per plot, that's 175 million DEC. Now you take the power cores into, or factor those in as well. That's another 5,000 DEC times the 3,500 gets you about 17.5 million. So if we were to use, or if Runi were to essentially be utilized all across the board, that would be saving us almost 200 million. But I'm gonna be super conservative and say maybe only half, and maybe that's not even super conservative. But I'm just gonna say maybe half, right? So that cuts us down to 100 or 100 million DEC that wasn't really being accounted for. That's now going to have to enter into the mix. Is that going to be a lot in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. It's really hard to tell what the demand is going to be. But 100 million DEC is also not, like that's also, it's not something to just like thumb your nose at or sniff at, right? It's just like, it's not an insignificant amount. Granted, when we're talking about the billions, right, specifically 4.6 billion is what we have in supply for DEC right now, we are seeing a good amount being burned. And, we're closing in on 50 million DEC being locked up in the DAO. So this should actually be 4.62, right? It's probably 4.63 billion right now. But as we start to get more Rift Watcher packs sold, if the burn goes into effect before Land 1.5 comes out, there's a lot of things that could really get DEC supply very, very scarce. And when you throw in 100 million DEC into that, again, I think that that's something that we weren't accounting for previously that we will need to account for now. So I'm curious to know, and I'll try to keep this as a shorter video because I'm curious to know from other Runi holders out there, what is your game plan? How has this changed things for you? For me, as I said, I mean, it's very simple now. I'm going to need 150,000 DEC for my 3 plots, and I'm going to start accumulating now. I wonder if for those, we've seen voucher prices dip a little bit. We've seen SPS price dip a little bit. My guess, and I don't know, this might just be my overall plan, but my guess is we're probably going to see vouchers continue to dip until and unless we can hear anything else about them, because of the simple fact that people need DEC. So for now, like, what's the easiest thing for me to like transfer, or in terms of transferring value? It'd probably be vouchers, and it might even be SPS to a certain extent too, right? Like, thankfully I'm at a point where I got my my multiplier, so I'm feeling pretty good about the amount of SPS that I have from an earnings perspective. But I know with Land right around the corner, I want to start stacking DEC. And 150,000 DEC might not be a lot to some people, but it's, for me, like, as somebody who doesn't hold a ton of DEC, it's definitely something that I would like to start accumulating. So curious to know how your experience has been, or not experience, but how your game plan has been changed so far with this, if you are a Runi holder. And maybe you're not a Runi holder and you're just laughing at all the rest of us, and that's cool too. But even if you're not holding a Runi holder, are you factoring or are you taking into account the fact that there will potentially be a greater demand on DEC? Because, I've been watching a lot of the chatter happening around Discord, And everybody keeps talking about like, oh, there's a lot of, not a lot of DEC heavy holders here and there. And we can even go into the rich list right now. And there's just not, many like high level holders. Like 150,000 is only 3 plots, right? And so you can see here, as I was talking about earlier, the SPS DAO count is now almost at 42 million, which is awesome. But overall, I mean, we got a couple in the millions, but that's not nearly enough. Granted, 50,000 is only if you're going to use max monsters, so maybe not everybody's going to be using max monsters. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Let me know your game plan, if it has changed at all, and how you are, attempting to go forward with this, with land, hopefully, fingers crossed, right around the corner. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.